Greetings and welcome to the Whisky Lover Society with me, Gert Retief, and tonight we tackle a little bit of a different topic. It's the end of the year. Most reviewers are talking about Christmas, me included. Best whiskey for Christmas. What do we expect to find under the tree? Making a wish list for, well, maybe for your friends and family so that they buy you something that you really want for Christmas. But nobody is talking about the whiskey that you do not want for Christmas, the ones that you have tried, the ones that you find, definitely not up to scratch. A whiskey that give you a little bit of that heebie-jeebies. And of course, most of the whiskeys being delivered by the fat guy, Santa, all the way from the north, bringing you less than a mediocre whiskey, because the friends and family, they just go in, grab a bottle, cheapest on the shelf, and of course, when we receive it with joy, dignity, a big smile, a big thank you. Wow, that is absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much. Always wanted to try that old whiskey that you just brought me. So, yeah, we do it with dignity and we do it with a smile. So I thought to myself, let's make it easier for the loved ones. Let's make it easier for the family. Let's make it easier for your colleagues. Give them a hint of what not to buy this year. Especially if they think you or know that you are a whiskey lover. They know that you like a good whiskey. And of course, if I tell most of my friends I just paid €120 for a bottle of whiskey, they always get a little bit of a small heart attack. Are you crazy? What the hell? Who buys whiskey that expensive? So for them, when you talk about 20, 25, 30, 40, 50 euros a bottle, the eyebrows go up and it's like, ooh, that's a little bit of expensive. But there is a lot of cheap whiskeys out there that can fill the need for a nice experience. And tonight we're talking about 5 of them. Well, maybe 5 plus 1. The plus 1 is going to be a little bit of a controversial one. A little bit of I think I'm going to get some hate mail for it, but I'm willing to take it. Remember, subjective. It's what I experience, and you might find some of these on my list as something that you enjoy. For me, it was a cringe-worthy experience, especially when you go into a journey and you find and experience all these lovely whiskies, and all of a sudden you go back to the whiskies that you found, maybe not just enjoyable, but acceptable years ago, and you go back now and you realize it is not such a good whiskey. Consider the big volume of really good whiskies out there. So I'm going to start off with something that I actually experienced here in Belgium. It's called the Old Smuggler's Blended Scotch Whiskey. It was very cheap. I picked it up at the local supermarket. I'm sure it's available at all supermarkets. It is colored to hell. It's still filtered to death. 40% ABV. It was like somebody added some flavoring in it to bring out some of the vanilla notes in it. It was bland, it was watered down, it was not really a good experience. I was thinking maybe in a cocktail. Definitely didn't work in a cocktail. I think that is something that they will sell at the pub, to buy one get one free special. Definitely not something that I want for this year. So whoever needs to take note, please listen very careful. And maybe if you are expecting a whiskey, maybe it is a good thing to show your friends and family. Let them ask you, what do you think, before they buy something. I know that sounds terrible. We should accept all gifts with an open heart and an open mind, and put a smile on that face. The next one, Clan McGregor blended whiskey. A blended Scotch whiskey, I beg your pardon. It is, I think it was one of the worst whiskies that I've tried in a long time. I was under the, when I first tasted it, I thought to myself, there's no way that I'm going to ever do a review on it. It was just a terrible experience. It was an over artificial experience. And it was, it was definitely not a whiskey that I would want to try again. I'm not even sure how much it was. It was a sample that was given to me by a friend of mine, and he said, have you ever tried this? Well, now I have tried it. No, I'm not interested in it. It was definitely not something, if you are into a journey with whiskey, definitely not something that you are going to enjoy. Now the next one can be a little bit controversial. I grew up with this stuff. That was my go-to brand whiskey then. And the only reason that I went to this one is because, it was cheap. And if it is cheap, that's something that you would buy and you will drink it and you're not going to complain. But of course, as soon as you realize, it is not such a good whiskey after all, price is not an indication of quality. A lot of people will tell me that I'm wrong on this one, and they do like it. But for me, the Johnny Walker Red Label was definitely something that I would push away now. At minimum will go for the Black Label if I have to buy something like this. The next one is something that I bought years ago. Money was low, not a lot of money, desperate situation, wanted something to drink, and wanted to take something for a barbecue, and they had a special of a Jim Beam bourbon. It was a bottle that the first time released in South Africa, and they were selling it cheap of chips, buy one, get one free type of scenario. Bought it, opened it up. I think I had one drink out of it. A friend of mine said, it can't be that bad. He had a drink. We just dumped that glass into the zinc, and that was the end of that bottle. And by the time I got married years later, that bottle was still standing there. That went straight down the zinc. It was just terrible. Could not drink it, especially if you're not used to that Jim Beam bourbon notes. Definitely not one or experience that I would want to take over again. And the another one that I bought, and I know a lot of my subscribers, they know my feeling on this one. Well, not that one. I will get to that one a bit later on, and that is the Millstone. I can't give it away. Now, a lot of the time, give it time in a glass, give it time in a bottle, not a neck pour. Maybe go halfway. It will change. I just bought another one. Most of the time when I talk about this one, I pour it, I nose it, and after the video, down the drain. Now, the biggest problem that I had with this one, and it's been opened for about 2 years already, it's got that stinky old air tires note. It is rubber. It is really funky. I just cannot reconcile with this whiskey. Now, I can give it a little bit of credit after 2 years, more than 2 years being open. It seems that little rotten tire air is no longer number one on this nosing. It's definitely disappearing a little bit. But for me to buy a bottle wasn't that expensive. It's a Pedro Maud peated whiskey. It's 46% ABV, and so it does become a little bit nicer. But to be honest, I couldn't give it away. And if I asked my friends, do you want some of it? I can give you a nice sample. They said, let me taste first, try it. No, thank you. Can't give it away. But yeah, it's a little bit of an improvement, but I do not have the time to sit and wait for something that long. Now, I did promise a bonus, 5+1, and of course, a lot of people, even before I started, is going to say, I know what he's going to say. And that for me is the Lefroy 10 years old. Now, I just cannot get used to it. I've had samples, I had the bottle. I would give it time. I give it time, so much time. I mean, they get old beards in my cupboard. I just cannot reconcile with that volatile, sharp, disgusting hospital. I hate hospitals, and every time that I open up that bottle, that hospital is just too much for me. Close it. That what I pour goes down the drain, hoping that it will change over time. Of course, it does never change. So my list of 5+1. What do you think? Do you need to remind some of your friends, your family, which whiskies you do not want for Christmas? I think it is a good idea. It gives them an opportunity to give you something that you're not gonna need a fake smile or a fake happy face. Finding something might be cheap, but a much better whiskey. So leave a comment. Which whiskies would you add to this list of a no-go, no-show, no-buy list? So thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I see you next time. Cheers.